right. This video is going to be about doing some repairs to this truck. This is my 2005 GMC 2500. I bought this a few months ago. Since buying it, I've realized more and more problems about it. One of the first things that's going to be getting fixed is it needs some frame repairs. You know, the rockers and stuff have some holes in them, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm more worried about the frame. So we're going to be putting some new cross members in here and fixing some bad spots along with a new tow hitch. Also got a fuel leak on an injector and a boost leak that needs to get addressed. What do you think, buddy? All right, I'm gonna start with the frame, so I guess let's try and get this bed cut off of here. I got this in here where I'm gonna be working on it. Got all my stuff staged. All right, let's look at getting this bed off of here. So here's a prime example of just because you can buy something doesn't mean you should. I don't like to judge people on welding. I feel like most welders are way too judgmental as it is. But it's kind of like, you know, like look at some of this stuff. Then like you look at the exhaust. Like just because Harbor Freight sells welders for, you know, like $500 doesn't mean you should buy one. Anyways, he's got it welded and bolted on there. So I got to get in here with an angle grinder. Then over here, it's just bolted. The filler neck, I gotta take that off. Then I don't even think it's attached over here. Yeah, that's not even attached on this end. He bolted just this piece. So that, there's daylight through there. So that one's not even attached. Off the back. Okay, the back's bolted through. So this side will be easy. This also tells me all I need to know about the previous person that worked on this truck. These connectors are terrible. Whoops. Here's more. I took this, you know, that was kind of like hand tight. It was, I think the rust on the actual nut was what was holding it on more. I got that cut off. Then I come back here to this one. Like, look, I haven't even, that's loose. Not this one. I bet you this one is too. Yep, that one's loose too. So like barely anything's holding this bed on this truck. All right, I got the bed off. I ended up torching these back bolts because they were so seized. This was the only one that was able to come out and the nuts off of it. I gotta lift it off there. Got my lights disconnected. Then over here, so this whole piece is gonna come off. The actual bed mount, I ended up having to very terribly weld it to that piece of channel due to it being painted and very rusty. So the bed should be ready to come off now. Let's see if we can get this bed off of this truck so we can see what the damage is underneath. All right, this is what I got for rigging. I guess let's see how terribly this goes. What you think? All right, I'm just gonna leave this sitting here for a little while. That sunset was probably pretty cool about 10 minutes ago. I got a ton of stuff. All right, all that stuff should be everything I need to replace everything on here. I have new tow hitch. This is a class 3 or class 4, I'm guessing. It looks like looks pretty small, honestly, for what the truck is. That is a brand new class 5 hitch. That is actually ready to tow more than the truck will be, so that way I have to worry about overloading the truck before the hitch. So that makes me feel better. Also have a new rear cross member. As you can see, there is not a ton of this one left in certain places. Also, this rear fuel tank and front fuel tank cross members, those are in pretty bad shape as well. So I got those new as well, along with, as you can see, I have a ratchet strap here that is holding up the rear of the fuel tank because the back strap rusted off. So I have, that one actually doesn't look too bad, but I have a new set of those as well. All right, executive decision has been made. It's gonna get cleaned right here at the edge of the building, so that way, because it's dark and I can still see what I'm doing, and also because I can't turn the wheels when it's not running. So it should be okay here. I'm just gonna move some of that stuff over there so it doesn't get wet. And wow, look at that, that's impressive. Wow. Maybe a vacuum and just come in here and pick some of this stuff out by hand first. You know, I'm surprised in today's day and age, we haven't come up with a way as a society to melt ice off of the roads with something that won't rot out our cars. Because, like, this is stupid. Like, this truck is only 20, 21 years old, and it should not look like this. All right, got the fuel tank out of it. I just have that one line. It's just that vent that ties in for the rear end. I've got that makeshift bumper along with the tow hitch off as well. I do not regret making the decision to put a larger and new hitch on it. That one's in pretty rough shape. You can see back here, it's pretty rough. I know a lot of people would say that they wouldn't think this is worth fixing. I can understand that. However, with my background, the metalwork and the fabrication stuff, you know, that's easier for me. Also, I put a new scratch on the truck. I was pushing it in with the side-by-side and I ran it into that torch cart there, so that's a new one. But, oh well. It matches the rest of it. What are you doing? Is there a mouse? I bet you there's a mouse in this motor. Where is it? Oh, let's see. Can we see it? I want to see if I can see it. Where is it? I don't see one. I'd take your word for it. I bet you there is one in there. Where'd it go? Huh? Where'd it go? I see evidence of mice. Where is it? I don't see it. All right, kind of slow and steady. I was originally gonna do those cross members up there first. I've kind of switched my attention to back here because I want to see what I'm really gonna need. Because I definitely know I'm gonna need to get some material. So GM riveted these in from the factory. So I got the top 4 out. However, there's 2 here and then 2 through the mount for the leaf spring as well. Same thing over here. They're a little tricky to get out. Anyways, I'm gonna try and get this rear cross member out. I got the shock off. And then just get in here and clean up the frame and see how much plating I'm going to have to do. All right, got that rear cross member out. As you can see, not in too good a shape. As you can see for our frame here, also in terrible shape. You can see where somebody tried to fix it very poorly. I actually think whoever did this probably actually made this worse due to, you can see the gaps and the inconsistencies allowed moisture to get behind here and actually accelerate this process. So you can see it's wore pretty thin right here. And you can see on this side, there's like nothing left on this cross member. So I'm definitely gonna end up having to do some plating. Obviously, like right here, this is completely gone, and this is where a hitch would need to tie into. So definitely going to be a lot of work, but I still think I can make it safe and usable. Time to start cleaning up and cutting out the really bad spots. I got out all the terrible patchwork that was in place. It's still kind of hot, but yeah, that's what was there. All right, truck progress is slow. We ended up having to kind of piece some of the stuff in there, but it's still gonna turn out pretty good, I think. Yeah, gonna get cleaned up and start welding some pieces in. A little change of plans. I'm going to end up plating this on the outside due to the fact if I do the plating on the inside like I was originally planning on, I'm trying to beef this up a lot more than it was, or that it is, and it's going to be a little beefier than it was, I should say. This is 3/16 from the factory. It's going to end up being replaced with this 1/4 inch. So the idea here is I've got these welded, and these are going to wrap around on the exterior of the frame versus the interior, which is going to allow me to beef up this bottom lip and then actually even cut all that rotted stuff off. Same thing on this side. All right, I got my patch plates tacked in place. We're looking like, all right, I was trying to see if that cross member would fit. I'm gonna have to open the frame up a little bit. I need to add some pieces here because there is nothing there anymore. That's what these pieces are gonna be for. Alright, I tried using that plasma cutter, but since it's only 110, it's just not very strong. So, acetylene torch, I did that in like 5 minutes. Over here it took me like 45 minutes. Plus I've been messing with that one over there for like another 45 minutes. What you think? Moline is sad. Her cow friend is gone. Oh, no. Found a grasshopper. Never mind. Alright, I got this frame all painted. Got everything welded in. See there. Got my new cross member in. I will definitely say, I don't know how you can perceive it, but I mean, this makes it, just painting it makes it look way better. All right, I want to pick that mess of wiring up and set it back up, and I want to get the fuel tank thrown back in this thing and back this thing out of here. I ended up getting the fuel tank back in it. That actually was more eventful than I thought it was going to be. I reconnected the ground that goes to the filler neck. Pretty sure that's for the fuel tank sensor. And then I'm pretty sure this one's for the pump. So those grounds are back in. This breather that goes to the rear end, I got that hooked back up. The exhaust, I put the hangers back in the spots I thought they were. I measured off of the old pieces. However, it's not really where it was. I still got to figure something out for the exhaust. Whoever did this just did a terrible job anyway, so I need to come up with something better. However, it's not just laying there anymore, it's actually hanging up. I tightened that exhaust clamp under the cab that was loose. All right, more than likely this is probably gonna run for about 2 seconds, then die, because having the fuel tank disconnected, we got air in the fuel system, so it's probably gonna take it a minute to prime. This aftermarket lift pump that's on this truck does not have a primer bulb or push button. You can hear that lift pump in there working. Let that run for a minute and we'll start cranking on it. All right, I haven't worked on this in a couple weeks. I ended up getting the hitch on there. Took a little bit of customization due to not having the factory holes underneath anymore. Ended up having to re-drill all the holes through that 1/4 inch plate. That took a little bit of time. I've got that mounted now. I've been tidying up this other stuff the best I can. I've got this block mounted back on the back. I ended up fixing the trailer lights. There was just some wires that had been chewed through. Went back through, reconnected them, tested everything. Everything works good. Okay, if you are going to do electrical connectors, especially on a vehicle and especially out here, where it's subject to getting water and salt and stuff on it, use these. These things are good. These things, you heat them up, it's got solder in the middle. It's literally the next best thing to just straight up soldering them. These connectors right here, these are garbage. Do not use these. This guy, whoever had this, used those. I mean, these things are good if you're not like on the outside of a truck, but those are terrible. Just don't use those if you're wiring on the exterior or something. These are all the plugs for the taillights, but they're so destroyed. I'm just gonna buy new. I think the license plate light ones, I think these can be salvaged. These don't look... It's in a giant knot, but the license plate light plug, that one's not tampered with. Also, I bought one of these, and I wish I would have bought one sooner. This is like the greatest thing ever. So that is new. I went back, double checked, and just hammered on everything really good to make sure everything's tight. All right, we're gonna get this bed bolted down and put some tail lights in it. My bumper did not make it in time, so we're gonna try and get this thing back on. That telephone pole it ends.
I can yam on it until it breaks. Do you care about the screwdriver? It's a nice screwdriver.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not a good idea. Well, let's regroup and see what we can do.
Let's unscrew this one.
You want to try taking that one out?
Oh yeah, because it's now pushed up against. So
that didn't sound good.
no, it's good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
All right.
Good. I only hammered it. I mean, you heard me.
That's good.
I don't think she needs to be hammered too much.
Yeah, I don't want to pull the threads out of those inserts. Yeah, it should be. I think it's fine.
Brakes?
Brake works. Turn signal's working. You know, it's got those resistors, but it still flashes really fast. Those are bright. I mean, why not? Go ahead, try it. They look good? Okay. That works. Works. Hey, put it in reverse. Dude, they look good. All right, I got that bumper installed. Took a little bit of modification, but it's on there. Solid, you know. That's probably the only thing with the other setup, you know, that back bumper was a piece of 2-inch tubing. You know, that was never going to bend under most circumstances. This is just thin metal. If you bump into anything with this, it's just going to fold. So I have a feeling in the future I'm going to end up making my own custom front and rear bumpers for this truck, because these aren't going to hold up in the long run. The taillights and that third brake light, those have been replaced. Turn signals, hazards, brake lights work, and reverse lights do too. I'm just realizing now, running this, I don't have running lights, so I kind of need to look into that. However, those look cool. This isn't really a truck that I'm after having cool looks for. You know, I still got a little bit of body work to do. I'm just going to take a hammer to that and see how much of that I can get out. I've been digging in these rockers. This needs to get done too. But she's been digging up in these rockers that are all open, looking for a mouse. It's been driving me crazy. She'll just sit here and just bite chunks out of it. So, rockers are in the future with the cab corners, but that doesn't really affect the way the truck runs. Where's the mouse? Where's your collar? You look homeless. You want the mouse. Okay, come on. All right, so I'm out here trying to diagnose why my running lights don't work, and I pretty much got it figured out. And somebody decided that she wanted to make friends with a little black and white creature that smells really bad. So that's currently what I'm dealing with. Why do you like skunks so much? She loves skunks. There's a whole family of them that live back there. And I let her out for like 2 seconds right after it got dark, and I could smell it. And I call her, and she comes over, and I couldn't even breathe. It actually seems like it worked good. I use hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, and dish soap. Let it soak before you get her wet. Apparently, if you get them wet, that's what really makes that smell bad. So I did 2 rounds of that I mixed. And then now you give them a regular bath, and I'm using the skunk stuff because somebody has done this previously. I will say the past couple times it was not bad. This time was pretty bad. All right, that's gonna do it for the frame repairs on this truck. So having that stock box on there now, I think is gonna be a lot nicer for me. That flatbed was just pretty poorly made. You know, there's still rust in this truck. There's still always gonna be rust in this truck. As Moline's pointing out, the rockers are in pretty bad shape. So eventually I'm going to do rockers and cab corners on this truck. The tailgate and bedside there have a little bit of damage, but really nothing too crazy that keeps it from being unusable. I would like to maybe try and bang them dents out a little bit and potentially even replace that tailgate so it functions a little better. However, this truck is much safer and much more usable. Anyways, I'm going to be happy to have this thing back. I'll be happy to get back to some other projects. This has been taking up most of my free time recently. So hopefully I'll get much more life out of this. Would you please stop? Come on. What are we going to work on next? I don't even know. I can't remember what the list of important stuff is. I think we're going to buy another car, aren't we? We're going to go buy another car this weekend? Yes, we are. Okay. All right, I guess with that, let's start on another project. I know it crashed somewhere in here. Oh, here it is. Let's see what the damage is. Oh, man. Actually, it doesn't look bad. What's the camera look like? Huh. I think I've done worse before. Okay, that's a little disappointing, but at least it was kind of funny. Oh, yeah, look at that. That's cracked. Might be time for a new drone.